Hey everybody, Jimmy here with the Triple C Collective on this Sci-Fi Sunday. We're going to jump into Book of Boba Fett, Episode 4, The Gathering Storm. Um, I've been loving Book of Boba Fett. Book of Boba Fett has for me, for me has just been a really cool show. It took a character who I've really didn't think was all that cool. I know I'm not with everybody on that. A lot of Star Wars fans tend to think of Boba Fett as like really cool and stuff. I don't know. I always kind of remember him going out in the Sarlacc pit. So I always just wanted to see once I learned about like Legends and expanding universe and all that stuff for him, that like he survives and comes out and stuff. I was always interested. So hopefully seeing it here in this. And then like once we heard about the show, wanted all of that. So I've just been. It's kind of given me everything that I've kind of wanted in that. It made Boba Fett cool to me now. And I've really liked the story. I like that we're back on Tatooine, but I also like on how we're back on Tatooine with nothing to do with like Luke or the Skywalkers or anything like that. So it's really interesting to me. Again, I'm really loving it. So this episode 4, opens with Boba in the back to tank, healing himself up. We get the flashback. We get that green grain dissolve, like that Robert Rodriguez like staple there for it. Excuse me. So we get that with the opening in this flashback. I loved it. We get Boba Fett just riding on the bantha, and like it was really cool seeing the bantha. Like way more up close and personal than like where we had seen banthas like previously in Star Wars, at least in live action and stuff. Because animation, they would look, they obviously looked similar but different and stuff. But the bantha here, like I don't know, there's something to like, you can tell that they built something. Maybe not all of the bantha, but they built a portion of the bantha that was real, that they dressed like on set in the volume. And for me, there's just something about that Star Wars has always had, like since the original trilogy came out and George Lucas and all of them working their magic way back when, 30 plus years ago, like making us all love this stuff. They built those ships and made miniatures and like basically big old toys that they filmed or that they put on camera and stuff. So like even when we get little moments like this, I love it because it looks like a creature. I mean, like Star Wars was like one of my first influences of that, of like creatures and monsters and stuff like so it was really cool. Just like it was the same way when we saw the Hutts bring the baby Rancor to Boba and everything like that. Like that was all so great, and like the imprinting and all of that stuff. Like, that was all really cool. Like, and they also gave the Rancor like almost a better, I don't want to say better, but a cleaner design this time, like what we got here in Book of Boba Fett. And again, that was all of these previous episodes. So Boba's traveling on this bantha. He goes to Jabba's palace because he needs his ship. That's where we come to find out that's what he's looking for. He goes there, he scopes it out. He's like, there's too many guards. So he waits for day to come, turn to night to, travel again. But at night, he sees two flashes. And we see the two flashes. Then we get the like the little Mando kind of music. And we're like, oh, this is where he goes to rescue Fennec. This is awesome. And that's exactly what it was. Like, there's a little bit where he is feeding his bantha, and that's like really cute and adorable. But then he finds, Fennec all like, shot up and stuff from the Mandalorian and everything that we saw there with her. And so then we get, which was really great. Like, I love that. I know some people were mad that they like turned the spurs lower as like his approach. Unlike like Mandalorian, there were some like sound differences and stuff that they made. Didn't matter to me. I like I accept that these shows will interconnect on like touching on different things, but I accept that all of these Star Wars shows, like what you give me within your show is like what you meant to do or how it should have been done to tell this story. So I was cool with it. I did like it, none of that mattered to me. I was just like, oh my god, we're seeing it. We're seeing like what actually happens, like the actual rescue, and then we see Boba take her to the like modifier that's like a tattoo parlor basically, or at least it was like very reminiscent of like tattoo parlors and stuff. Like you go in there, there's a bunch of music playing, you got different people in different areas, some like flipping through getting ready to pick what they're looking for. You got some people already being worked on, and this was all great. I jumped a little bit ahead. He saves Fennec, and then we get the title card, The Gathering Storm for Book of Boba Fett. Then he's saving Fennec, takes her back to the mod shop, gets her, and like I said, feels very much so like a tattoo parlor, tattoo shop. Gets her all gets her all worked on. The modifier guy there though, he's kind of hesitant. He's like, no walk-ins, need an appointment. Boba Fett just tosses credit and like a bag of credits on the guy's table, and he's like, why didn't you start with that? Come on in, kind of thing. So he takes care of Fennec and like fixes her up, and this is a great couple of minutes. It's a great little montage here. See the modifier, he has his own like hand that he like switches things out from like 3 like fingers basically to like, then he's got like a welder, a saw, and like scissors or something on there, and he starts going to town cutting out like all the bad and putting in all the machinery and all that stuff. Saving Fennec's life, as we like saw in season 2 of Mandalorian when her and Boba Fett actually come back and are seen again. The once the modifier finishes his modifications to Fennec, Boba Fett's like, aren't you going to close her up? And as we remember, like, her, like, the moving pistons are, like, seeable. Like, they didn't cover that up with, like, skin or, like, fake skin the way that, like, we've seen, like, Luke do to his hand, like, once he got his fake hand and everything like that. So, like, they didn't do that. The modifier's like, and cover up all that beautiful machinery? Come on, get out of here. No. Fennec awakens. They're out in the dusty desert. Boba Fett offers her a black melon, and this was weird. I don't know if I noticed this for any of the other times, but the black melon, this time when he cracked it open, like a dust came off of it. Is it spice? Because that's what the Pikes were running through there and stuff. Like, is it because they don't also explain like where the black melons come from. You just dig them out of the sand. So we don't really know like what their origins are. Not saying that I really want Book of Boba Fett to tell me like where the black melons like have come from. Like, I can go figure that out later. Definitely don't want to take time up in an episode doing that. But so like that was weird. I didn't know if it was like spice, because then Boba Fett also says like sometimes you start to crave it. Spice is clearly a drug that that is sold and traded and blah, and like all throughout Star Wars. And I mean, it's really a nod to like Dune and everything like that, and the Frank Herbert book Dune. They just released a movie earlier this year, Legendary and Warner Brothers. Denis Villeneuve directed it. It was pretty good. I liked it. But I'm not here to talk about Dune. So Boba says you start to crave it. Fennec notices her stomach and is shocked by that. Boba calls Fennec by her name, and this kind of like takes Fennec a little bit aback, and she's like, so I'm worth more alive. And Boba Fett's like, I have no intention of turning you in. That's not what I. Uh, it's not what I kind of need you for. And Fennec's like, I'll pay double. Thought you were dead. Like they have this exchange of like people thinking Fennec's dead, people thinking Boba's dead, and how they can kind of work within that realm of like accomplishing what Boba Fett wants to get his ship back and get his armor back. And he says so as much, but he does tell a little bit. He does open up a little bit to Fennec, which is weird and one of those things that like from almost go, Boba Fett has just treated Fennec differently because it's all post living with the Tuskens, which have like clearly changed him. And he's like, I was left for dead. I crawled out of the Sarlacc pit. I was left for dead. The Tuskens found me. And like the Tuskens found me. I lived with them, and then the Nikto speeder bike gang took him out because like I wasn't there to help them. And Fennec, this is interesting because I want to see more of the Tusken Raiders, and like what Boba did with them. And now it almost seems like we're not going to get any more flashbacks, with just like this kind of here. Like Fennec's like immediately is like, really? I find that highly unlikely that Tuskens were able to be just completely taken out by the Nikto speeder bike gang. So that raises questions. Is it the Pikes working with the Nikto speeder bike people, speeder bike gang? Because they like were in cahoots, and the Pikes like clearly were pitting the Tuskens and then the Nikto bike gang against themselves, and seeing which one of them, or if neither of them, make it from their battle. So are the Pikes involved? Are the other families involved in doing that? Because like Fennec is pretty confident that the Tuskens should have survived that by themselves, and not be completely taken out. This tribe that Boba Fett is describing that he was like living with and everything like that. But Boba wants help. He wants to, he says he wants to recover his ship and his armor. Boba says, you help with this, your debt's paid. And she's like, I'm free. He's like, if you wish, like, I'm not gonna, there's no strings attached to this. I want my ship, I want my armor, and that is it. From you, Fennec. Then we are like good to go. Which is great. And like Fennec is again kind of like taken aback like that. It's kind of like this rebirth that Boba Fett kind of got, like, being chomped down by the Sarlacc and then crawling his way out, and then living with the Tuskens and like proving himself to them and training with them and then becoming one of them with like the lizard in the nose ceremony and the grabbing the branch to make your gaffy stick. Awesome. I love it all. We get Boba Fett and Fennec back at Jabba's palace doing the watch because Boba Fett knows that his fire spray gun is in Jabba's palace. They want to get a closer look about how many guards and stuff are in there. So Fennec, out of the butt of her gun rifle, she takes out this little round ball droid. Excuse me. Just goes whoo, and it just flies off and it goes inside the palace, and it takes a bunch of digital scans. You see it like we've seen other droids like that throughout the Star Wars universe, like do very similar things. Nothing is really different. I mean, we've seen R2 do scans like that. So like all of that's happened before, so it was really cool. It's just little nods and stuff of seeing things before. But this little ball device then goes all through Jabba's palace and into the kitchen, into the cargo, or like the ship bay maybe, where his ship is, and they see it. They're able to see how many guards there are as well. So then the device comes back. They're talking around a fire. Fennec and Boba. Boba lets the bantha go, and Fennec's like, "Why would you do that now? Shouldn't you have waited until like we for sure got the ship back, not like as we're attempting to get in there and almost do it." Boba does tell the bantha though, go on, girl, go make baby banthas, go find other banthas, and go find like your tribe and live with them and stuff. So that was really cool. That was really neat. But I do like Fennec just being like, "Don't you think we should hold on to that? You know, just maybe in case." But Boba Fett, like his real response back to that is like, "Well, if we don't get my ship, I'm dead." Like, it's that simple. If I don't get my ship back, then I won't survive, and I'll be dead. So then there's like nothing. And Boba again reiterates like, Fennec, you will be free as soon as we get my ship. He's like, I'm gonna get my armor. I'm gonna get the blokes that double crossed me, and I am going to sit on his throne. And Fennec's like, Agorda, you're gonna run your own family. And Boba gives another really great explanation. Like, the Tuskens took me in. They made me a part of their tribe. They made me feel a part of something. They made me want to leave hunting, like he's talking about bounty hunting, behind. The droid returns, gives them the schematics. They double check everything, and they're like, all right, we know how we're going to get in there. And they go in. Then we've got the entrance into the palace. They get in via the kitchen, and the kitchen has a really great like chef droid that has like 6 like arms and stuff, and then it has like almost like one of those medical looking droids that that for sure looked like it was helping Luke when he was in his own bacta tank, kind of suspended there, not like Boba Fett in a nice little bed and stuff like laying back. But in Empire, after Han finds him on Hoth and stuff, and he gets all beat up. And yeah, or actually, it may not be in. Yeah. Does he go into the back to tank? Beside the point. So, Boba Fett and Fennec then enter through the kitchen, through a gate great in the kitchen. We see those 2 droids. It's really awesome. They're like, they hear the grate kind of move, and they're like, oh, maybe it's just a rat. I'll go and notify the exterminator. The one like medical looking droid that's back there cooking as well, that doesn't have the 6 arms, is like, it like sees the grate moved, and it's like, oh, I don't think it's rats, and then gets attacked by Boba Fett and Fennec, and it's just great. It's just so much fun. And then we see the like 6-armed droid like start spinning its arms, like very similar to like General Grievous with his arms and like the lightsabers and stuff all spinning around. So it was really great, nice little nod to see all that, like here in this episode and everything. Then we see in Fennec, Ming-Na Wen, she's got this awesome knife. It's like a welding, but not it's like a weld blade. Like, it's meant to cut, and then like it gives you, I don't know, it just looks like beaded metal, like dripping metal after it. But she attacks the crazy armed droid and like cuts its like throat and like cuts its head off, and its head just falls onto the table in front of like the food and like the cheese and the veggies that it was like cooking with before. It was really great. They then there's a droid that enters the kitchen, a smaller droid, like almost kind of like, it's got some like rabbit ears and stuff, like small little like bunny rabbit kind of. It doesn't really look like it's not really like a rabbit like droid, but it kind of looks like one, similar to one at least. And it starts kind of walking around, and then Boba Fett comes out, tries to get it. They chase it around the kitchen. It's a great little like cat and mouse chase scene. Boba Fett finally gets it, and it holds it up and puts it up to the wall, and it's like, my name is Boba Fett. And you just see the droid open up its little on-off switch and turn itself off. It's so good. Like, oh man, that like when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, that's great, that's so funny. I don't know. It's little things like that that like really make me like love this show. I mean, I've been loving it since like episode 1 though. I really like the take of it. I'm enjoying it a lot. I mean, I'm just enjoying it a lot. I love it. It's so much fun. Um, then we get Boba Fett and Fennec now inside the hangar where we get like the final like full reveal, not like through some like binoculars or some droid screen or anything. We legitimately see Boba Fett's fire spray ship, fire spray starship. They got rid of the old name for it, and that's fine. So he calls it his fire spray ship, and like it's great. I love seeing it. It's awesome seeing the old starship back here and Boba getting it because, like, again, when we see Boba come back in Mandalorian, he already has that. So, like, none of this stuff was like answered in Mandalorian of like how did Fennec get hooked up with Boba and how did all that happen? Because then, like, where the show sort of picks up as well is after the events of like where we last see Boba and Fennec in the Mandalorian. So it's really interesting on how they've like how they're weaving this whole new like universe, not even universe, but this whole time period of stories that are going on here, like Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. All of it's really cool. I don't know where they're gonna put Ahsoka. Ahsoka could be the series could be in this time frame. I would only assume it could be. I mean, it could be. I have no idea. I really have no idea. But it really easily could be as well. So, I'm just unsure about that. But if it is in this, then this is going to also be great. Um, I'm really excited. Star Wars, the Mandalorian Book of Boba Fett's been really cool. I'm really excited for what else they're going to bring us our way. It's going to be good. I'm excited. Uh, so again, they're in the hangar. The different people throughout Jabba's palace, like the different guards and stuff, are coming in to try and pin and corner Fennec and Boba Fett, and kill them basically and stop them from taking the ship. Uh, Fennec, tells Boba like, "I got this. I can hold them. You get into the ship. You get it up, running, and get us out of here. Make sure it can still, fly. Things like that." Overall, the escape of the palace is not super clean for Boba Fett and Fennec. Boba, like, puts the tail end where his guns are and, like, the ramp to get in where we saw, like, Han Solo and Carbonite float on by. All of that was crazy. And so, like, we see that portion of it kind of go through, like, walls of Jabba's palace as, like, Boba Fett... Because, like, that's the other thing. Like, it's flat like this. So when Boba Fett's up, then he can see, like, what's in front of him and actually fly. But as of right now, all he's seeing is the ceiling. Because he's, like, locked into his chair and stuff. So it's really interesting. It was actually a really... it was something that I didn't think about. I was like, huh, that's so... I mean, I think the different ships throughout Star Wars are one of the cooler things as well about Star Wars. They have all kinds of crazy, like, looking ships and designs, and I don't know, I think all that stuff's really neat. So, like, I've actually liked probably Boba Fett's ship more so than I've actually liked Boba Fett himself, if I'm going to be honest now. Up until this show, because now I've really liked Boba Fett. I'm more on board with him than I was before. I kind of always felt he was a chump. Him getting knocked into the Sarlacc pit like that, it was just... Didn't make him look good. Didn't make him look cool. But here with, like, the ship, we get Fennec then jumping onto the ramp, taking on a Gamorrean guard. The ship's, like, ramp doors are starting to close a little bit as Fennec and the Gamorrean guard are fighting. Fennec eventually flips the Gamorrean guard off, jumps through the other side, and then blasts the weight that's holding the gate down to, or holding the gate up to not allow them to get out of Jabba's palace. And so the weight gets shot, that goes down, the gate goes down, and they escape. Um, it's great. It's a great couple of minutes here. I loved it. It's so cool. It's so much fun. Then they have the what do we do next conversation. Like, Boba Fett's like, I've got scores to settle. If you like, I can drop you wherever you'd like. You like your debt that you had to me is paid. I got my ship back. That's all I asked from you. So that was really cool. It was really great. Then he does have the uh, conversation like, I'm gonna go do these couple of things, and Fennec's like, I'll join you for the ride. After that, we'll figure out what I need to do. Then we get Boba and Fennec in the fire spray ship hunting down those Nikto speeder bikers and take them all out, which is awesome. You just see them all get taken out. It's great. It's pretty ruthless as well. Then we get probably the one biggest nod to like A New Hope Star Wars that we got, and that's like Boba Fett's ship going over the Sarlacc pit here, and we get like the dark cover and stuff, and that's like a similar mirror shot from the Star Destroyer coming in overhead and stuff like that. It's very similar, but not really, but is like that, and it was really great. I loved it. I never would have expected to see that kind of shot in this series, or in like any of the expanded any of these other series, these expanded universe series. It's great. It was great. I loved it. Then the Sarlacc attacks, and like its tentacles come on either side and starts pulling it down. The way Boba Fett's ship is designed, the guns keep hitting the sand, so it's like the blasters aren't getting through the sand to actually hit the Sarlacc, and it starts like it's like shaking the ship, pulling it down more and more. Fennec unhooks herself, falls onto the bulb of the windshield basically of Boba Fett's starship, and falls onto there. Then we get the Sarlacc kind of jump up again. It was very reminiscent of the T-Rex head in Jurassic Park jumping through the like sunroof of the Jeeps that stop right in front of the T-Rex. Stop right in front of the T-Rex barrack in the first Jurassic Park from '93. That like, oh man, it was, at least to me, that's what I felt that I got from that. I could be entirely wrong. Like I could just be putting something on there that isn't really there. But I like to think so, because again, dinosaurs, and then we got a sandworm monster. Like, come on, it's at least on the same street. May not be in the same ballpark, but it's on the same street of weird and creature. Love it. So this was this whole scene here over the Sarlacc pit, the attack, Fennec hitting the button to drop the bomb, then, and the Sarlacc eats the bomb and like drops down, and then we see the boom go through it, and the Sarlacc's killed. Boba is here because what we also get here is that this is this portion where we're seeing Boba Fett and Fennec in his ship here. This is truly before he meets back up with the Mandalorian in season 2, before him and Fennec go back, and like we have the tragedy and Grogu and all of that at the Temple Stone. They don't, where this is over the Sarlacc pit here for Boba Fett in his flashback is still before his reappearance in season 2 of Mandalorian. Like his full-on appearance, because really we see Fennec in the sand and the feet walk up to Fennec, which none of us knew was Boba Fett at the time of Mandalorian season 1, but eventually, like, we came to find out that that's what happened in season 2 of Mandalorian. Now we've got Book of Boba Fett here, and we're getting a little bit more of these pieces put into place here, and I just loved it. Like, after the Sarlacc is all like blown up, they're released. Boba Fett's like, Boba Fett makes the comment, "Don't touch my buttons." uh, and so Boba Fett then says that they park the ship or whatever. He goes into the Sarlacc pit, like, without any armor or anything, looking for his armor, because Boba Fett doesn't know, or at least doesn't necessarily remember, that the Jawas stole his armor before the Tuskens found him. That is one thing that we learned in the first episode, that Boba Fett, even with all the Bacta tank healing and everything, hasn't gotten that cleared up for himself. Because he doesn't have his armor down there, he doesn't remember that the Jawas took it. Which at this point, Mandalorian probably has it. The Mandalorian probably has it. They finish this up. They go, and they're like, when I say they, Fennec and Boba Fett are reconvening after the Sarlacc pit, trying to figure out what to do next. And Fennec's like, "You're serious about running your own family and everything?" And Boba's like, "How many jobs did you do that could have been avoidable if the people who hired you just thought about it a little bit? Or how many lives could have been saved, and how much money could have been made had we done it this way?" Or just kind of thinking about things in a different way, doing things in a different way. We hear Boba Fett that he wants to rule with respect, not fear. And that's and like the idea of no longer being the lone bounty hunter, him against the world, trying to find a tribe of, people that not will worship him, but will, like, work with him and help him achieve his goals, and be a part of that, and have that family, that tribe, that connectivity with people again. It's really great. It's really it's really cool. I am loving all of this. Boba Fett's like, "We're both smarter than that. We can take our shot." And Fennec's like, "We?" He's like, "I need brains and I need muscle, and you have both." Fennec's like, "I'll do jobs for you. That's no question. That's no problem. I'll happily do jobs for you. Yeah, you didn't kill me. You have literally done everything that you've said you would do for me or to me or whatever. You have done. You haven't kept me here. I have." Fennec has elected to stay every step of the way to this point. Every time where Boba Fett's like, "Okay, you can go if you want." And he keeps it's not necessarily that he's purposefully enticing her. He's just like, "We have options. There's different options than bounty hunting." And, like, through that, like, rebirth originally through the Sarlacc pit and living with the Tuskens and stuff, like, that's where Boba Fett's at now. It's pretty cool. I like it. I love this. And then I love that this next bit that Boba Fett says is like, "What I can promise you is loyalty and a life pledge to you, that I promise my life to you to protect you at all costs, at everything that I can do." That's really great, because that's where, like, but Fennec's like, "I think you've gone soft," and he's like, "No, the Tuskens didn't make me soft. They are this idea of being together and, like, having a tribe of people with you, having your back, that you are with and you have their back and stuff." He's like, it didn't make me soft. It made me realize the, like, strength that gives you, and how a man or a woman or a person without a tribe is weak. and it was interesting because Fennec, for all intents and purposes, is like, "Hey, sign me up, sign me up. I wanna do this." Because then we get to the present. We get Boba Fett coming out of the Bacta tank. We get the droid saying that Boba Fett's 100% healed. So Boba Fett being 100% healed, does that mean we're really not going to see any more flashbacks? We're not going to get the couple more pieces to line up what might have happened in between, like Fennec and Boba Fett deciding to to do the family um and go after like that goal, and like having the loyalty conversation. um it 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 sucks. There's just a little bit that isn't there. Now, to be fair, Boba Fett could have lost these memories, and due to and like due to damage to his head from like the acid in the Sarlacc pit, whatever. And now he's healed, so now he's remembering, because he does say the dreams are back earlier in the series. So maybe it's like we really only see him in the Bacta tank when he's sleeping. He sleeps in the Bacta tank, maybe. And that could be a possibility, and that so then he really is like dreaming at night now. And it's less like hallucinations or anything like that. I mean, I always kind of assumed that it was dreams or something. I mean, he said the dreams are back, so I have only assumed that they are dreams. But since he does say that they are back, it also, like, you have to think that at some point, like, he wasn't having these, and then he started getting them, but at some point he had the dreams, he lost the dreams, then he got them back, it seems like. And we're in that portion of he lost, got back, is where like the series takes up in the portions of that stuff. So it's wild. I don't really want to step away from the flashbacks. I really hope that we see a little bit more of the Tusken Raiders, unless we end up seeing like part of Boba Fett's bigger plan is killing the Pikes and like uniting like more of the Tusken tribes, because they say that there are a ton of tribes out there, and that like they're all over the place, and that they hide, and that they all have like different ways of doing things, the different Tusken Raiders and stuff. So it's just interesting to see what can happen with that. It'll be interesting to see if we really do not see any more flashbacks and everything is now told at like truly in the present here, or what's going to happen with it. I have absolutely no idea, but I am very excited to continue to find out. Boba Fett gets out. He asks about the mayor, Major Domo. Fennec's like, the Domo's singing. He's telling us everything that we need to know, everything that we want to know. Boba Fett's like, I gotta show my face in town. I should do that. I should go show my face in town. They go to Madame Garza's place, and we get something that I noticed, just like how I noticed the droid at the beginning that was like that medical droid. This one, we see Trandoshan's playing cards, and the droid in the center is the exact same droid that is the pilot flying the starship in the Star Tours ride in Disney World in Florida. Yeah, I mean, he has a different, like, he has actually the really classic looking dealer's like brim see-through hat and stuff like that on, but it's the same type of droid, for sure, that used to be the pilot, or that was the pilot of the Star Tours ride in Florida. Like, I was that Leonardo DiCaprio pointing meme when I saw that, for sure. Love it. But so here, then we get Trandoshans playing cards. We see Black Chrysanthemum's back again. Santi, so exciting. And he, I mean, because we know the Tranodoshans came in and like tried wiping out the Wookiees and like slaughtered the Wookiees, and we saw one of them even bring a Wookiee pelt as tribute to Boba Fett at the beginning of this series. So we know Black Chrysanthemum knows who they are, knows what they did to his people, and does not like them. And this is one of my favorite parts of the entire episode. Basically, Black Chrysanthemum walks over to a Tranodoshan and starts beating them all up. He eventually gets to one. He picks one up. Another one behind him cracks him over a bottle. So he tosses the one that he picked up, turns to the other one, lifts this guy up. Madame Garza shows up and is like, whoa, hey, Santi, Black Chrysanthemum, and like does this really great 3 to 5 minute monologue about Black Chrysanthemum. He doesn't need to be the gladiator, doesn't need to be brutal anymore. He's not in the pits. It used to once be glorified, but it is not anymore. It is not something you should be proud of. Definitely not something you should still be doing out in a public like bar area like this. Madame got talking very sweetly to Black Chrysanthemum, and it's great. She's like, now, hey here, handsome man, you have racked up quite a hefty tab here. How about you just put him down nicely, let them all enjoy the rest of their night, and I wipe that tab clean for you. And, we just call it a day. The single greatest thing in the world happens. Black Chrysanthemum does what Han has always told us all the way back what Wookiees do. Rip a man's arm out of its socket. And that's what happens. The Tranodoshan loses an arm, and it's awesome. You just see the Tranodoshan go down, and you're like, huh, he's like completely even, ribcage completely even, and then you see the hand flop down too, and you're like, oh, that's so great. But the kicker, the greatest thing in the world that Black Chrysanthemum does about this whole thing is he rips that arm off, walks to one of Madame Garza's, like let's call them waiters or waitresses, who's actively like walking around the bar area and stuff, and just drops a handful of credits or whatever. I don't know if it pays his whole tab, but drops some credits into that person's hand and just walks out. G move. That, like, awesome. That's so great. He walks out. Black Chrysanthemum walks out, walks right past Boba Fett, who had just entered Madame Garza's place during all of this. He turns to Boba Fett, goes to Madame Garza, is like, at least you tried. And she's like, yeah. Boba Fett goes out and hires Black Chrysanthemum for protection. He says that I have a job for you if you're interested. And this is interesting because apparently there's a little bit more of a background history or a back history between Boba Fett and Black Chrysanthemum that they've kind of started doing, I guess, in the Marvel, like now currently have been running for the last few years Marvel comics. And I guess, like, he originally I guess Boba Fett and Black Chrysanthemum know each other. They've crossed paths before. Maybe not necessarily worked the same job, but have had the same employer for different jobs or going after the same thing from two different people looking for it or whatever. So they've crossed paths and stuff before, which is very interesting because Boba Fett gives Black Chrysanthemum, we saw, maybe an episode, maybe 2 episodes ago, we saw him let Black Chrysanthemum go. Just let him go after the Hutts gave him his tribute. He's like, don't work for Skugholes anymore or anything like that. Like, just advice from one bounty hunter to another. And then he just lets him go off and do whatever he wants to do. Now he hires him back because he's still in town. He hasn't left Tatooine or anything like that. So Boba Fett hires him. Then we get one of the coolest scenes in the world. Is like we saw it in the trailer, which was really interesting. We see the meeting of the families, and we get Fennec telling, giving a recap basically, for the most part, of what happened from Boba Fett getting into the Sarlacc pit to all of them sitting there around the table talking with Boba Fett and Fennec right now. And what we have around the table are the families the families of Mos Espa that are like currently running it, that are helping, that were running it with Bib Fortuna, and now seem to be kind of running it with very little interference from the Pikes at this point. Um, so Fennec retells the story up to this point. Boba Fett's like, I'm not trying to sit on the throne to come after your territories. I am only after the throne and Jabba's territories. I want us to all be able to work together and, have all of us prosper. I don't want to come into anybody's lands. I don't want to come into anybody's territories. I want us to, be able to work together, be civil with each other, be neutral with each other. And then we get one of them is like, well, what makes us not kill you right now? Like, you don't have any real power or anything. So what makes us not just kill you and take what we want? Unbeknownst to them, they are all eating above the Rancor pit. Yeah. Where Jabba would look down from his little gliding long bed that Bib Fortuna turned into a throne, more of a throne type thing. We see them all sitting there with Boba at the head of the table. Bam! We get a Rancor. The Rancor pops up, scares everybody because nobody knew Boba had a Rancor again. Other than like his inner working people and Black Chrysanthemum, because Black Chrysanthemum was out and released when the Rancor was still there with Danny Trejo sitting out there next to the Hutt twins. We get Boba Fett then gives his proposal. Join me in a defensive against the Pikes. Against the Pike Syndicate. And they were like, why would we join you? The Pikes are only challenging your ownership of territory, not any of ours here. So why would we go into bed with you? And he's like, fine. Fett's like, fine. I will vanquish the Pike myself. I ask one thing from you. If the Pikes come to you to turn on me or to join them and fight me, I ask that you remain neutral. And all of the families agree. They all agree to remain neutral if approached by the Pikes to turn, and start becoming an aggressor towards Boba Fett. They all begin to leave because that's the end of the conversation then. That's the end of the meeting of the families here. Boba Fett says, just stay neutral. And, we'll say the rest will happen. And so this is cool. This is episode 4. There are 7 episodes in Book of Boba Fett, so we're more than halfway through now. And we've only got 3 more episodes, and I am super excited. So everybody leaves. Boba Fett, Fennec asks Boba Fett, do you trust them? He's like, no, but I do trust them to act in their own self-interest. With the Pikes here, it's only a matter of time before the Pikes start pushing everybody out of their territories. Whereas if we start fighting them now, when there's not a lot of them here, we can hold our ground pretty well. We get them back at the palace, but they're looking out at a balcony now. Whereas before, let's call it, they were in the Rancor room, in that like throne room basically. Now they're looking out on a balcony, out to the sky, and Fennec again goes, "Are you prepared for war?" And he's like, "I'm not short on treasure or credits, short on muscle." Fennec's like, "Well, credits buy muscle if you know where to look." And as she's saying this last final sentence, we get the true Mandalorian theme playing here as we are pulling out away from Fennec and Boba Fett. And oh my god, are you kidding me? And then we go to cut credits and we get that fantastic concept art again, which is one of my favorite things that I love seeing. It's so cool. I mean, we're getting Mandalorian has to come back sometime here. Are they going to do so Bryce Dallas Howard still has to direct an episode. Robert Rodriguez still has to, I believe, direct an episode. And I believe then as well we have Dave Filoni is directing. I think these are the last three. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I know Dave Filoni also co-wrote the episode with Jon Favreau for his. I'm actually really excited to see when Bryce Dallas Howard does hers, because I think some of her episodes, just like Deborah Trove from Mandalorian, were some of the most fun episodes to watch and stuff. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see how this all plays out. I'm excited to see what Dave Filoni does with his episode as well. I mean, you can only assume we're going to get some sort of Clone Wars Rebels kind of pull here. Maybe even something a little bit. Maybe Rosario Dawson shows up. I don't know. Anything's on the table at this point. Anything and everything. But that's the end of the episode. It was so I don't know if we'll see Mandalorian in episode 5. My money would be on an episode 6 or 7 seeing Mandalorian. Possibly. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna get. I tried to guess how they were gonna plan Mandalorian season 2, and I was wrong on every little bit of how they ended that season. So I'm done guessing, making guesses like that. All I know, Bryce Dallas Howard still has to direct. Robert Rodriguez, I believe, has one more. And Dave Filoni has to direct an episode. Dave Filoni has always done crazy things in the episodes that he has directed. For everything. Bryce Dallas Howard is just great. So I almost wonder if they're just if they're going to give her the Mandalorian bring-in episode, because she was a part of season 1 and season 2, the same way that Filoni probably had his choice. All of this is crazy. All of this is awesome. I love the Book of Boba Fett. This is Book of Boba Fett episode 4, The Gathering Storm. Thank you for joining me on this Sci-Fi Sunday. My name's Jimmy Clark. We're the Triple C Collective. You guys have a great day and stay safe.